All
severe
right.
storms to the area, including a tornado risk throughout the day. From severe
I
weather
believe
Center,
that.
I'm meteorologist
Jimmy, here we go.
for High Country Radio.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Recovery Talk, Hope and Help for the Hurting. It's Thursday, 10:30. My name is Jim Quigley, and we're here for another hour show to bring encouraging stories to people out there that maybe have a loved one or maybe yourself is struggling with substance abuse. Before we get into the story with our guest, my friend Ben, we want to give a quick acknowledgement to the show's sponsor, who is Freedom Auto Tech. Freedom Auto Tech is a local mechanic shop here in town that's ready to give professional service to your car that many times comes with a warranty. And you can know as a customer at the same time all the profits and proceeds go to supporting men in recovery through Freedom Farm Ministries. Freedom Farm is a one-year men's recovery program here in the High Country, and we are always trying to improve and do better. So if you come and get your car fixed, know that you're helping out Freedom Farm at the same time. The number to give them a call if you need something looked at in your car is 828-355-4434. That's 828-355-4434. Give Freedom Auto Tech a call and get your car fixed. Hey, I need to give a quick update. We had that Walk for Awareness last Saturday, and we thank everybody for that turned out, but we got completely pummeled by the rain, and there's been a lot of question in the public if there's going to be a makeup walk this Saturday. There is not. So we will not be meeting this Saturday to do a makeup walk, but keep in tune. There's another walk already in the works and planned for next year. It was an amazing success for it being its first year and everything. We were blown away by the support that we got. So thank you all that came out to support. So Ben, say hi to everybody this morning.
Hey everybody, what's going on?
So I don't want to mess up your last name. So why don't you say it for everybody?
It's per year, like once per year, you know.
Per year. How many times have you had to say that? To
A
people?
million
times. Once per year.
Yeah.
So Ben, once per year. We met about 4 or 5 months ago.
About 5 months ago.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, a little bit longer because. Yeah, that's part of your story. We won't tell anybody that right
We'll
now.
keep that secret.
We'll keep that secret, okay? But it is a pleasure to have this young man here on the radio show with me this morning. It's been a pleasure getting to know you over the last few months. And so thank you for coming and being a part of the show this morning.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So, my friend, where are you from? Where'd you grow up? What was all that like? Tell us what makes up Ben Puryear.
Yes, sir. I grew up at first in Roxborough, North Carolina. It's by Durham, North Carolina. It's a good little place. It's funny, in my hometown, everybody called me Benjamin. Never in my life had I been called Ben until I moved to New Bern, North Carolina in 3rd grade. It's a good town. It's where Pepsi was invented. I don't know if anybody knew that. Yeah, Pepsi was invented.
I think you told me that before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Pepsi was invented in New Bern, North
You're
Carolina.
still not going to get me to drink Pepsi.
No.
Okay.
I'm a Coca-Cola man. Don't tell nobody, y'all. Keep it secret.
Is that not against the law coming from you?
Maybe. I don't know. But I've had one good life. I've had so many positive things happen to me in my life. And I had a good family, good caring. Positive things happen. Yeah, the one thing is I was raised with Jesus Christ, God, and the Holy Spirit. I was raised that way.
Uh-huh.
But in terms of living the way, to follow it the way I should, it's just something I didn't focus on. I was more focused on people around me,
Uh-huh.
And sharing something they believed with me, than I was about why my faith should be there,
Okay. So what was that life like, where being raised like that, but not necessarily following it, but the people around you were doing that?
I was the black sheep, for a lot of it. I know that sounds bad, fellas, but I mean, no one's perfect here. I'd sit there and I would just act perfect in front of the people I wanted to, and then I would act like a different person completely around others. I'd carry myself differently when I'd go to school and things like that. Yeah, I changed it though,
So very, very common among people that that struggle with substance abuse. But good point to be made. It's kind of like our conversation before the show. This isn't really that different from most people. There's a lot of people that play dual roles, wear many masks, different facades between different people. There's a reason why we do that, is because we don't want people to know, this person, so we act like a different person, right? Not comfortable in our own skin. A lot of that has to do, is rooted in shame and whatnot, or guilt, because, it's wrong, you don't want them to know you're doing wrong, things like that. So, what ends up happening, I'm not saying this was your story, but I definitely identify with that, which I think, like I said, most people identify with, living different lives. I did it, but then when you're doing it so much, you also try to, I think the rot comes in because you try to justify it. Like, I have to do this because they're just bigots, or they're just judgmental. We start having to, we have to push them down somehow in our minds in order for their opinion not to matter. But what's the truth? It does matter, right? Because whether your mom or dad says right or wrong, right? So it doesn't change the fact, even though you want to. But anyway, that was kind of a long rabbit trail to. So what would you say was, when it comes to rebellion, when did you start getting rebellious with your family?
I see.
Oh, and also, like, how many siblings do you have?
Siblings total. I have
Total?
Five.
Okay.
Five. The thing is my father, I haven't seen him since I was 13 years old. I'm 29 years old. I suppose he was judgmental in ways, and I didn't turn out to be the person he wanted me to be. So, I mean, I haven't seen him, in many years. And the thing is...
I'm sorry about that, man. So, it's going to be tough.
It's okay. No, I mean, God does everything for a reason. It's funny you mentioned that. I text messaged him with pictures from prom.
Oh, you did?
Yep. Still got his number on my phone.
Okay.
He threw some message at me. And he says, "Oh, I lost your number. I lost contacts." And he knows I'm the only 252. That's my area code.
Right.
He knew it was me.
Yeah.
But anyway.
When you said prom just there, you're talking about the Joy Prom that was just held here at Alliance Bible Fellowship last Saturday. How was that, man?
Oh, that was my first prom.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was my first prom. I loved it. I got those pictures, with all my brothers there, and I posted them up there, and I did some dancing. I can't dance, Jim, but I did it,
Yeah.
It was a blast, man.
So here's a side note, like, here we run this one-year program, and we have guys doing things as acts of service, because we try to get them out of themselves, try to get them to serve, and we take the guys to Alliance Bible Fellowship that has just adopted our program. It's just a really great relationship. We love Alliance, and so the guys do a lot of things there, like chairs, and help out with a Wednesday meal, and there's all kinds of little things. But you almost kind of got to kick them to do those types of things a lot of times. But when it comes to the special needs ministry over there, I have to actually, the sign up sheet gets filled up. I mean, guys pretty much voluntarily want to go over there and do that. Even when we're not making them do things like that, when the opportunity is there, a lot of them will sign up and go, because it's such a beautiful ministry. So anyway, we really appreciate that ministry. I'm so glad that you got to be a part of Joy Prom, which is only once a year. So if you want to do that again, stay with us for another year.
Yeah.
All right.
If you don't mind, I'd like to share one thing.
Sure.
There's a gentleman. His name is Benjamin. He also has a brother named Gabriel, a younger brother. He has wonderful parents, and he has a sister. But anyway, my point is I got to take a picture with him, and I posted it up there, And now some people would sit there and judge a person if they're different, maybe mentally or physically, than everybody else. But the point is that you shouldn't sit there and judge a person because they're different than you are, in the slightest. Treat them like a person. Show them some love. You only live one time. Follow the Bible and do what it says. Follow the Trinity first, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Then love your neighbor like you love yourself. And I mean, that's how I see it. Think of others before you think of yourself.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So back to your black sheep days. 5 siblings. When did the nonsense start, would you say, or do you have an idea when it did?
Sort of. I'd say middle school, honestly. But I mean, in all honesty, it has to do with high school. I can't say anything. I tried to fit in with a certain group.
Yeah.
And then I just fit in where I could. And it was a bad idea. I'm just sitting there friendly to everybody, introducing myself. I'm a social person.
Sure.
and I fit in with some of the wrong groups of people. You know, not that all were wrong, but some were, and it just got me into bad habits. I was skipping school. I was doing stupid things. You know, I was sitting there. I wasn't good at math. I was copying, you know, people's papers. I was sitting there and doing what I could to get by, just to pass, you know.
Right.
And it was hard. I had to sit there and, you know, lie about different things on my absences, you know, and get paperwork that I could to pass the class.
Okay.
And see, that's the wrong thing to do. That's a cowardly thing to do. You should be a true person to accomplish something in the way it's meant to be, not to just sit there and cheat your way through something.
Right.
Accomplishments mean something. They have that feeling within you. And it's just, it feels so good. It's so satisfying.
Right.
I'm not saying be prideful.
Right.
I'm saying be humble.
Right.
But at the same time, you should be satisfied with yourself when you gain that properly. But my point here is that wasn't me. I was just the guy making the wrong decisions for the wrong outcome.
Yeah.
You know, I ended up, I mean, I don't mean to sit there and jump ahead, but my point is 9th grade year, 10th grade year, I ended up failing 10th grade, and I had to repeat it, you know, because I missed the absences, and my grades weren't that good either. But yeah, I'll never forget, I ended up, is it okay if I talk about criminal charges?
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah. Sorry.
That's fine.
But anyway, I got in some trouble. I got caught when I was 15 years old on campus. I had skipped first class and second period, and I went to third. I had a knife in my pocket, and I had a paraphernalia. You know, I had a marijuana pipe in my book bag, and I got caught with it and searched. So that way I ended up getting in some trouble for that. I had to have... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was going to say, we got to take a break. But right when you get in trouble with the law, that's where we're going to pick the story up when we come back. So, folks, if you're like me and enthralled by this story, stick with us and you'll hear the next part. All right.
So, don't find when I do this to him.
Yeah.
I'm telling him 2
many
minutes,
minutes?
1
Okay.
minute, 30 seconds.
Sorry,
time.
I should have
So
told you.
that way it don't be thrown. Glenn was thrown by a little bit last week.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, what's going on? No, you haven't done anything wrong. You just keep talking.
Okay.
It's just giving him a barometer so he knows what's going on, so
Yes,
he
sir.
doesn't have to cut you off.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean...
Ashley says, "Yay, Ben, we're so proud of you."
Oh,
We're
cool.
proud of all you guys, and that's why we say, please stay with it.
And am I taking too long? Do you want me to sit there and
No,
shorten
you just
mine?
do what you got.
You're fine.
Okay.
Just keep talking about what you're talking about. You need to share your story with people.
Yes, sir.
Because there's people out there that I'm sure are listening to this and they need answers.
Yeah.
And they need somebody that can tell them what I need to do. How do I need to do it? Because I'm telling you right now, brother, you can laugh all you want. But there's people just like you out there that are lost.
Yeah.
And they have no idea where to turn and who to turn to and who to trust. And you've got to wonder, too, how many people, and Jimmy could verify this better than I can. How many people do you think that you believed in, that you trusted, let you down when you got in trouble?
Well, yeah.
And you thought were your friends, and all of a sudden they sell you out because you find out they don't give a hoot about you.
No.
And you put a lot of faith in those people. That brings you down even more. And that even further adds to the addiction because you get scared, and that addiction gives you that freedom to get the heck away from it and push it out the door. And that's where people get in trouble with it. And it's not anything to laugh at. It's sad. It's really sad. And a lot of people that do it are because they're insecure. Jimmy can verify this more than I can. And I've lost friends from inebriation and drugs.
Ken, there's a lot of Splenda there.
That's what I use in one cup, brother.
How
Are you
many?
serious?
Yeah, I'm very serious.
How many?
Like 8.
Yeah. I say 7. I think it's... No, I'm just kidding. I normally
No,
use...
don't feel bad because Bill Fisher, before he became diabetic, would put Splenda and regular sugar into his coffee. And I asked him one morning, I said, would you like some coffee with your sugar?
My mom has asked me that before, Mike. I'm serious. The exact same question.
Did you guys ever see The Fly with Jeffrey Goldblum?
Oh, yeah.
When they're
And oh, man, that guy, I tell you what, and it was well said by one of the critics that monster movies at that point had reached a very low point, and people weren't watching them as seriously as they were. But lost in that entire shuffle was a marvelous performance by a marvelous actor, especially when he was changing
Oh, yeah.
and the characterizations of it. And I mean, sit there and do that and do this and like I'm okay. I mean, the twitching, and I mean Goldblum was just a phenomenal actor.
I've always liked him. He's always been a good.
He was in another movie. Hold on, what other? He wasn't in a movie.
He's been in numerous
Yeah, he's been in a ton of
productions.
movies. Dude.
Oh,
God,
okay.
he's been
Did I
in
know that name?
numerous-
The one that you probably know the most is the one where aliens come to the United States with Will Smith. Which one is that?
Oh, that's Independence Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he the guy that was sitting there and
the
he was in the
scientist.
plane? Yeah, he's
Yes.
a scientist.
Yeah.
He's a smart one.
Yeah.
20
Yeah,
seconds,
dad.
boys.
yeah.
20 seconds. Here we go. Jimmy, the mics are going up. I'm going to turn them on in 2, 1. Mics are now hot.
Hey, welcome back to Recovery Talk, the show that tries to bring some hope and help for hurting people. We have Ben with us today, but before we get back to his story, I just want to let you know about our show sponsor, Freedom Auto Tech. Freedom Auto Tech is a local mechanic shop here in town that's there to serve the public and giving you good service on your car. A lot of the work comes with a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty. So if you got a problem with your car, why don't you give them a call and get it fixed, and know at the same time as a customer that the profits and proceeds are going to a good cause, which is Freedom Farm Ministries. Freedom Farm Ministries is a 1-year recovery program for men here in the High Country, and this provides a revenue stream. So come and get your car fixed if you need it, and know you're supporting a good cause at the same time. Give them a call, 828-355-4434. That's 828-355-4434. They have some specials running right now. Give them a call and get your car looked at and help us out at the same time. Ben, so you had just got in trouble with the law. What grade were you in again?
I was in the 9th grade.
Ninth grade. You had a knife, and that's where we had to go to break.
Okay. Yeah. It was. I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's fine.
But anyway, yeah, this was pretty bad. It might have been my 10th grade year. Yeah, it was my 10th grade year. I apologize. But yeah, I remember I'd come to this class and I was completely high on marijuana.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was bad. And I go in there, my teacher could tell, and he just called the principal. She said, "We're sending a cop to you." I got searched. When I got searched, I had my knife in my pocket. I'd carried that thing in my pocket and it was okay. I needed it for carpentry work. That was my major in high school.
Right.
And anyway, so I get searched. Like I said, I've had a knife in my pocket, and I had paraphernalia, which was a marijuana pipe in my book bag. And yeah, I ended up getting taken off, and it was terrible. It was scary. First thing I've ever dealt with like that. And the man told me, he said, "Look, I will remove these charges from your record." The judge did. He said, and those are felonies.
Right.
When I first got them.
Right.
On school campus, you got paraphernalia and a weapon.
Right.
Right. That's a felony.
Okay.
But they ended up dropping them down to misdemeanors. And they told me, he gave me some guidelines, some community service, and they were light on me, I suppose, because of my age.
First offense.
Right. First offense. But anyway, I've caught more than that in my life. But anyway, we'll get to that.
Another side conversation we were having out there. Everybody makes mistakes.
Yes,
so
sir.
Obviously, you don't want to throw the book at someone that's made a mistake and give them an opportunity to change.
Mm-hmm.
But I suspect your story doesn't go to positive change after this event. But anyway,
you're
we'll
good.
get to that here in just a second.
Yes, sir. But yeah, I ended up. They told me, they said, if you want this removed from your record, what you need to do is get a high school diploma, or a GED, or an adult high school diploma, something.
Yeah.
A proof of graduation.
Right.
So I mean, it was extended for some years, but anyway, yeah. So I ended up getting my adult high school diploma. I had to drop out of high school, and it was pretty bad. I mean, I did it because I had so many absences in that repeated 10th grade year.
Right.
And they told me, you're going to get a 20 credit diploma. That's not even as good as a GED is in terms of a certificate.
Right, right.
So I'm like, whatever. And I just dropped out. I thought that I was getting my GED test. Then my mom showed me. It was about a year ago, if that. She showed me. She said, "Look, Ben." She's like, "It's right here." I looked at it. It doesn't say GED. I got the adult high school diploma. I was so fresh in memory of the classes. I'm not a slow person, you know what I mean? Like, I was all right. I picked it up pretty good. And so that's how I got past it. And that's how I'm successful to this day with my success. I mean, if you're in a program like that, it's not easy to be motivated and all those different things your parents are trying to assist you with.
Right.
But keep that motivation for anybody that's in that situation for education. I also caught a charge when I was 16 for less than half an ounce of marijuana. We were sitting, 4 of us, and we were smoking, we were smoking a blunt, and, sorry. That's okay.
You're fine.
But anyway, we're sitting in there, and we throw it under the car because we see a cop pull up behind us, and everybody gets charged with it because nobody points their finger at whose it is.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's just how I was raised. And anyway, it's foolish. But anyway, long story short, everybody else got a lawyer and got that charge removed from their record. I'm the only one that represented himself. I've always done that until recently. But anyway, yeah, so I got that. It's still on my record, and I got less than half an ounce of marijuana when I was 16. So y'all just avoid, just if you can get away from those things, those temptations, those worldly temptations, they're going to call your name. They're going to be tempting. And the moment you interact with them, they might be like, oh my gosh. The next day you're going to wake up and that's a new day. Be better than you were the day before. I'm not telling you to be perfect, because I'm not, y'all should watch this. Jim doesn't judge me. He treats me like I'm a normal man. I've been in recovery now for almost 5.5 months. It's good to meet men like this, fellas, ladies, period, I'm being serious when I say that. So, just think about that. Remember who you surround yourself with. That's what's so important. If you surround yourself with addicts, you're going to be tempted and you're going to fall for it, you know? But if you surround yourself with the right people, oh my gosh, the way it feels. For me, I read the Bible. I read Proverbs every day. There's 31 chapters in Proverbs. 31. God made it that way for a reason for me, right? The reason he did that is because there's 31 days in a month. So there's a chapter to read every day of my life for the rest of my life. I'm going to do that for the rest of my life. Every day I learn a different lesson. I appreciate that,
You've been doing awesome since you got here. You actually started off rocky, but you're doing awesome. But before we get to a lot of what you're doing today, I don't want to miss. So how old are you now?
29.
29. So we've got some years to cover here because some stuff happened, man.
Yeah.
We're coming up to a big event, and I haven't said anything. But so what was it like? Dropped out of high school, getting some charges. So what was life like then?
Yes, sir.
Take us through a few years there.
Yes, sir. So I ended up sitting there, and I got on worse drugs. It was marijuana and alcohol were the main things I'd focus on. Every now and then, if a person would tempt me with something worse, I'd take it.
Sure.
I didn't hesitate. For free, you want to do that for me? I'm on. I was a terrible-minded person. I was a young kid. I didn't know my lessons. I was addicted to the feeling. It wasn't like one thing. It was anything. That sounds bad, but it's just how I was. But anyway, so I ended up continuing getting good jobs and doing different things. I fell in and out of good jobs. I could have had a career at this point in my life, Jim. I just passed through it in a way I shouldn't have, I should have been sticking to it, being loyal, being
Other
right.
things were more
Oh,
important to you.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was repetitive for a couple years then.
Getting good jobs and then losing good jobs.
Right, losing good jobs.
Due to substance abuse and
Yes,
partying
sir.
and
Most definitely. But if you ever asked me that back then, it was because they did something wrong.
Sure,
it's because
it's their fault.
Right.
Yeah.
I was always manipulating things. That's one thing I was a master of. I know that sounds so bad, Jim, but it's the truth. I was that way until I got here. I know that sounds bad. I would say what
actually sounds very normal and typical for people that live that lifestyle. So.
Gotcha. I would say things, just to work a person, to manipulate a situation so I could get what I wanted out of it.
Sure.
I wasn't thinking about them. I was thinking about myself. I'm not saying I was the worst person in the world. I did think about others, but
what was going on with your mom at this point?
Oh my
siblings?
gosh, my mom and my sister. The way they supported me, the way they tried to be there for me. My brother too. They tried to be there for me, and they would try and support me. I would pretend that I'm listening to what they're saying when I would talk to them. But the words would slide in one ear and go right out the other.
Sure.
And it's funny. Hindsight's always 20/20, Jim.
Right.
So it's like they could teach me that lesson, but until it's applied in the opposite fashion, which I would carry it,
right,
I would never realize what they said was the truth until it was too late. And that was repetitive in my life. But anyway, so I sit there and I just live a good life as I can to the worst way. I've had good relationships, with friends, ladies, different things. But I always just didn't walk the right way, Jim.
right.
I'm telling y'all, anybody that's listening, you got to sit there and you got to give it a chance. Give it a chance. Wisdom can be passed to you in many different ways in your life. It's all a matter of where you get it from. read the Bible a little bit. I mean, I can give you something. This is another something. This is the verse that I follow in my life. It's Isaiah chapter 40, verse 10. Okay? Fear not, for I am with you. And then it says, be not dismayed, for I am your God. It says, I will help thee. I will strengthen thee. I will uphold thee with the right hand of righteousness. I don't want to sit there and explain it because I want people to do what I did when I heard that. I took it in and I contemplated it, thought about it, If y'all can't remember it, look it up. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 10. It means a lot, Y'all should give that a shot. It means so much.
All right, my friend. I knew you were going to be pretty animated, and I appreciate your possible calling to be an advocate and out there like an evangelist for the Lord, and also for how He impacts you in recovery. So, but back to the story.
Sorry,
you're fine, man.
Sorry,
I think we're going to have a couple of those, but we got 30 seconds actually before we get back to the story. Maybe we should just go ahead and take a break, and then when we come back from the break, we'll pick it up then. But we got a little bit of time, so yeah, stick with us, and Ben will be right back with his story. So we got 2 more spots left. Okay, so
I'll make it fast. You want me to?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
You're doing fine.
You're doing fine.
Okay.
I just want you to.
Better than sitting here not saying anything.
Yeah. I just want you to. When was the accident?
The accident was November, I believe it was November the 14th or 15th, but this was 6 years ago and some months.
Okay.
So hold on, let me think for a second. It was on 2012.
So I think the next one we'll just say that you progressively, your life was relationships, good jobs, losing it because of your lifestyle. And then something dramatic happened in your life.
Because I need to get to the accident.
Yeah, I think it's a big part of your story.
I think so too.
Because your life completely changed after that.
And I also used it. That's the reason I got drunk,
Yeah.
Jim, because my doctor told me it cuts your tolerance in half. And he said, if you drink, though, the first thing he says is don't drink, because it says on the medication, if you drink, you'll, and not only, you won't be prevented from a seizure, it'll cause a seizure. But he said it cuts your tolerance in half to alcohol. So when he says that to me, I don't listen to the advice about killing myself. I listen to, I can get drunk for half price. All right. I know that sounds really bad, Jim.
No, it sounds, again, typical of people that are stuck in abuse, man.
And that's just how I felt,
It's the easy way out.
Right. And I mean, I could go to the gas station and spend $5, and I'd sit there and I'd be drunk that night, $5. And I wouldn't eat meals, I was 144 pounds when I got here, I'm losing a little bit of weight now because I don't eat like we did at the Safe House and Restoration, but...
Adam says you're doing great, and I forgot to say that Ashley said that Sadrian says she loves her Uncle Ben.
Oh, that's precious. That's precious. That's precious. It's good. I'm talking to my people. I'm talking to them about faith, man. That's what means the most to me,
Mm-hmm.
It should.
That's why God put me here, Not to sit there and share for myself, but to share for another. It's like I said earlier, it says, come with me, and you'll become a fisherman.
It's the way it usually works. It's the way it usually works.
Yes, sir. Thanks for today, Jim.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming.
Jimmy, thanks for what you're doing.
I enjoy this. It's one of my favorite things to do every week.
Nice.
And you've been in ministry now how many years?
I've been at Freedom Farm. February next year will be 9 years.
Oh, 9 years. Okay, I thought it was 3. I don't know why. That's really good, Jim.
No, I worked under the other guy for 4 years.
Now, who was the other guy, Jimmy?
Robbie Colley.
Now, whatever happened to Mr. Colley?
Actually was killed last year.
How?
Accident on a bulldozer.
DriveSmarterChallenge.org.
Yeah, it was terrible. Were you here when that happened? No.
It wasn't long, or wasn't but a little bit of time before.
He and his wife Rita Colley started the program, and Rita still lives where Phase 1 is of the program. She still goes and teaches guys at Phase 1. So she's a great piece of the program. But yeah, Robbie was doing some bulldozer work behind their house and just freak accident, man. Thing flipped over and crushed him. He was 74, 75 years old. He was a wild man. He was like one of these force of natures. You never had the opportunity to meet him, but buddy, he was like one of those people who broke the mold. They broke the mold. Yeah. I was honored to be one of the 3 people that spoke at his funeral, and I was happy to do that, and it really kind of brought me some closure to the whole thing. Doing that, it was probably one of to this point in my life, one of the most memorable funerals I've ever spoken.
Yeah, the Red River Valley's a very hot area. Boy, you guys don't know humidity, man.
What are you talking about? I'm from South Florida.
You don't know New Bern, North Carolina.
Oh, New Bern's pretty bad, too. It's Pete Hardy's territory. That's where he grew up, at New Bern. He's a good baseball coach. He was an All-American. He was a walk-on All-American at Appalachian State. He didn't get recruited by anybody.
Federal prosecutors charging 60 medical professionals for allegedly distributing 32 million penny pills. Tony Rexby, NCN News.
Hi there, this is Cindy Botham. And if you enjoy
Okay, Jimmy, you've got inside a minute to go.
Hey, do you know Mitch Purdue?
The name sounds familiar. If you give me a face, I probably know.
He was a pitcher, but probably before you were doing sports here. Yeah, he's way before. He owns that Boone Dive Shop now. But he was a pitcher for App State. He was kind of famous back then.
App State has had some great players. They had a guy by the name of Scott Watt that played for them. Like I've always said, God has a sense of humor. And Scott was a dynamite baseball player. He's also a very good basketball player. But he went on to become a very successful girls basketball coach. And I mean, he was a hard ass. Yeah, he won a state title at Wilkes Central.
Nice.
Here we go, Jimmy.
This is WATA.
Hey, welcome back to Recovery Talk, the show that exists to bring hope and help for hurting people. We are brought to you by Freedom Auto Tech. Freedom Auto Tech is a local mechanic shop here in town, ready to give you professional service to your car that most of the time comes with a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty that's nationwide, parts and labor. But at the same time, you can know as a customer, the profits from the shop are going to support a good cause through Freedom Farm Ministries. Freedom Farm Ministries is a 1-year recovery program here for men. It's a Christ-centered Christian recovery program, and a lot of times here on Thursdays we have products of the program like we do today. Ben, who can't say enough about Christ. So if you have a problem with your car right now, why don't you go ahead and give them a call and know that you are helping support a good cause. 828-355-4434. That's 828-355-4434. Freedom Auto Tech, ready to help you out with all your car needs. Ben, so where we're at in the story, we were talking during commercial, is that your life is you're out of high school, you're getting good jobs, you have relationships, but you keep letting it all kind of go down the drain. There's a phone ringing there, Mike, but keep letting it go down the drain because of your lifestyle, your substance abuse. So what we wanted to do was kind of say, well, that was kind of your typical pattern, and then that pattern's broken up by something.
I'll call you back. I'm on the air.
Right? So why don't you tell the audience what that event was that kind of broke apart this whole pattern?
Yeah, the thing that broke apart this whole pattern, this was, I believe, 2013 or 2012, maybe a few months back. But the key here is I was walking down the road, and I was walking so that instead of me being able to see traffic coming to me, traffic was coming behind me.
Uh-huh.
And the road I was on, it's not like there's a sidewalk you're walking on. There's just a white painted line, and then there's just a couple feet of concrete.
Right.
This man was text messaging on his phone when he's driving, and he hits me with the car. I don't remember this, Jim.
Right.
I just seen the reports and such, you know.
Sure.
Anyway, my body bounced 100 feet. Anybody that can see on that camera can see that scar that's right on my head, right here, you know.
Right.
My skull got split open, my brain got swollen real bad. I mean, you can see right here I'm missing freckles on my shoulders. But, I mean, physically, well, I know this sounds kind of dumb. I didn't get any really injury anywhere but on my head.
Okay.
That's the worst, of course. You know, I'm not a fool, but anyway, yeah.
Any idea how fast the car was going?
40 miles an hour.
So about 6 years ago, you were hit from behind by a car going about 40 miles an hour without, and you were thrown 100 feet, split your head open, traumatic brain injury. Okay.
And the man said that I ducked. He said that I turned back and saw him coming and I ducked, and that's the reason I didn't die. If I hadn't ducked, then I would have. He was driving a little Honda. My body would have went back and my head would have hit the windshield. I wouldn't have made that. So I ducked down and that's why I ricocheted.
Okay.
But it was just really bad. Luckily, that man stopped his vehicle and he got out and he moved me off of instead of being in the lane, he moved me off and moved me to the side.
Okay.
So I could be okay. But the point here is I ended up recovering. It took about 2.5 months before I was approved to leave the hospital. My mom gave up her job. She gave up her everything to come be with me. Jim, my mama...
You almost didn't make it.
I almost didn't make it. I mean, I need to share that. My heart stopped 3 times as I was on the Pedro, which is a helicopter that drove me, you know. They picked me up on a helicopter and, you know, flew me. But anyway, they flew me to Greenville, North Carolina. My heart stopped 3 times. The first time for 3 seconds, the second time for 5, the third time for 10. According to science, in human law, you are a dead person after your heart stops for 5 seconds. No human being can walk up to me and explain to me in some scientific way why this occurred. Not one person can. You sit there and try to explain to me different than what y'all write on books for everybody else to learn. Because I broke that. You know why I broke that, Jim? I broke that because of Jesus Christ, God, and the Holy Spirit. There's not a question within me. There's not. Actions speak louder than words with me, Jim. That action, man, the life I get today, the doctor said when I was approved of leaving the hospital, he said, Ben, you fit in 5.5%, not even 4.5% of people that recover this way. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, Ben, you walk around like a normal person. You talk like a normal person. Unless you explain to somebody or have a haircut like that, people cannot tell that you had an accident. He said that is not something that happens in those types of injuries.
Right.
They had to remove this section of skull from the left side of my head.
Right.
They had to put a titanium plate in, screw it to my skull, then put the plate back on. Period. That's not a jokey thing, man. My mama, I've seen videos, re-taught me how to walk, man. I had a rubber little container on my head. You know, I had that little thing and a little rubber on the bottom to help you walk forward. My mama helped me with that. My sister helped me with that. My brother, you know, my family. It means so much.
But unfortunately, fortunately, you're giving praise to Jesus and for your life now, but that wasn't the fact after your recovery.
Right. The doctor told me before I left, he said, Benjamin, understand this about your valproic acid. That's for seizures, guys and ladies. He said, look, what it does is if you drink alcohol on this, it's going to cause you to have a seizure. Whereas if you leave it alone and don't, it'll prevent your seizures.
Right.
Leave alcohol alone. He said it cuts your tolerance in half when you take this medication.
Right.
So everyone else that's listening is going to sit there and think, oh, so he just ignored it because he knows it's going to kill him. No, that wasn't me, Jim.
Right.
All I could hear is, oh, it's half price now to change my state of mind. I'm on it. That's all I could think, Jim, like a fool.
Yeah.
You know, that's full of folly. According to the Bible, folly means foolishness, you know?
So you recovered and you went deeper into a life of mess and substance abuse.
Definitely.
Okay.
I did. It only cost $5 every day. Now, I didn't do it every day because your tolerance goes up that way.
Right.
Just often.
Right.
You know, when I got a paycheck, when I could sit there and lie to my mother and say, hey, can I get some of my check? You know, she'd give me some of it, and then I'd use it to buy something I lied about and said I wouldn't. I did that so wrong, and she loved me, man. My mom has always shown that to me, Jim. And I did it wrong. I did that for a long time. In my accident, I actually caught 3 charges in the past 6 years. I've caught 3 assault charges in the past 6 years.
3 assault charges.
3 assault charges. Intoxicated all 3, but only one that I remember. The first one, I called an assault charge. It was just, like kind of like resisting arrest type deal, The second one, at least I think that's what it was, yeah. But the second one was different. The second one was assault on a government official. It was a felony. It got dropped down to a misdemeanor. I went to jail, and because I was drunk in public, I was on 4 Loko first 2 times. I'm sure everyone knows what that is. I don't care if you're on medication or not. 4 Loko is going to black you out.
Yeah.
It did me.
It's bad when you're drinking 4 Loko.
Oh, it's bad, brother. Yeah. It's cheap and it's tasty. It's a bad idea, brother.
Yeah.
Bad idea. But anyway, so I sat there and I got taken to jail, and apparently I don't remember this, I'm told the story by guards. And all I know is that they said that I got in there and the man was trying to bring me to my cell. I have a brain injury, so I don't go to jail and just get taken to a public cell like other people. I go to a private cell and I get investigated. But anyway, so long story short, the man said that I was resisting him, so he just pushed me up against the wall and puts me in some handcuffs to take me to my cell. So I turned my face and I spit in his face. When you spit in a cop's face, you can pass a disease. So it's considered to be assault on a government official.
Yeah.
A government official because it's a guard in jail. It's not a cop that's on the street. It's different. I didn't know that. But who cares? I was drunk, man. Alcohol changes me into a person I don't need to be.
Yeah.
That's a knowledge, man. My mama tells me that. My mama taught me so much. My sister taught me so much. I just didn't listen. And like I said earlier, hindsight's always 20/20, man. That's not gonna change the fact that I spit in a man's face. How would I feel, man, if I'm sitting here bringing somebody to jail in my everyday life and I just get spit in my freaking face?
It's a tough job being a corrections officer.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, you hate him at first. And you're sitting there and you're like, man, why? But it's my fault. It's not his fault.
Trying to find someone to blame
Yeah,
your
exactly.
situation on.
Exactly.
So usually first person in front of you is who it is. So.
Right. But anyway, I don't want to sit there and keep... The point is that was my second assault charge. My third was the worst one that I could possibly imagine. I remember I was sober. Not sober. That was the wrong thing. I was not sober. But I was not blackout intoxicated.
Okay.
I remember what happened. I'm sitting at my house. And my mother's house. That's my guardian. I was sitting at the house and I was sitting there and I was drinking. I had 2 6-packs. I think I had 2 6-packs or a 12-pack. But either way, my mama loves me. My stepdad loves me. They know I'm not supposed to drink alcohol because it'll give me a seizure.
Right.
I've had a seizure in the past 7 months, Jim. Imagine how people feel when I have a seizure. I don't know what that's like.
They're scary. They're scary.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. Not grandma seizures, but seizures.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I sit there, and my stepdad walks in, and my mom walks in, and she's upset. She tries to tell me no. I resist her. I tell her that's mine, flip out. My stepdad walks in. They're trying to talk me into common sense. Like, think about this,
Sure.
Benjamin.
Sure.
But all I do is I get mad and I put my shoes on, I go to leave and walk out. My stepdad says something, I'm all offended by it, pride and alcohol. So I get in his face, I'm like, you mean what you just said? He's like, yes, Ben, right now I do. I deserved it, like what happens to me. But anyway, I hit him in the face 3 times.
Oh, no.
My stepdad, My stepdad.
Yeah.
This man has been there for me since I was like 14 years old.
And just trying to help.
Just trying to be... He doesn't even like if I sit there and try and call him dad. He's like, Benjamin, I'm not your dad, but I'm here for you if you need me. Let me know. That man is a wise man. He's a loving person.
Yeah.
His actions speak louder than his words on that. So I appreciate that so much. And anyway, he didn't call him. My mom didn't call the cops. The neighbor called the cops.
Okay.
And they ended up coming and then taking me to jail. So, but I'll finish the story. I did 29 days in jail, and they say that you got to be careful doing that because you have a brain injury. One punch in the head, you lose your life just like that.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So when we come back from this next break, we're going to finish this story out, and you're going to lead us up to how you got to Freedom Farm and what life's like now, my friend. All right. Stick with us. We'll be back soon. All right.
Yeah, it won't take but a second to get us to the next point.
That's fine.
Okay.
You're doing great.
All right. I didn't mean to sit there.
Oh, you're doing great,
Thank
man.
you. I didn't want to sit there and go out on the wrong subject or take too long.
No, but I can understand how you must have felt after it happened.
Well, the thing is,
Punching the guy, I know what you mean.
and the thing is, this man, my stepdad, I could have understood if that man would have just jacked me in the face. I deserve that, you know? I deserve
Yeah, but he
that.
loved you too much not to.
All he did, he just sat there and put me in a headlock. You know what I'm saying? He just held me. And he just held
Yeah,
me.
it's the best thing to do. You
You
did
know?
the right thing.
And then I couldn't hit him, you know? I mean, he just held me down. And he just waited till the cops got there, ended up hugging me up against a tree and keeping me still. I'm sitting there talking crap to him. I'm sitting there trying to tempt him to try and fight me so he'll let go of me so I can just hit him in the throat or something. And yeah, he's just a man about it, a loving man about it. You know?
That means he is a loving man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
A
sir. he is.
lesser man would have probably killed you.
Oh, yeah. You know? I mean, you can see right here, Mike. Do you see this right here where my skull goes in?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can see where it's
You
not
got
like...
the same thing Teddy Green got. Teddy Green used to be a hockey player. Matter of fact, I think in sports, he was the first professional athlete to have a metal plate put in his head.
Oh, wow.
And you have to understand, this is an era where hockey players didn't wear helmets. Some chose to wear them, most did not. It became mandatory in 1979 that you had to wear them. And he got injured in a collision by the boards. He took such an awkward spill. Now imagine you're on the ice, you're going to fall awkwardly, and his head hit the ice. And the year before, Bill Masterson, who they named the Sportsmanship Award after, hit the ice backward with this side of his head and died instantaneously. Ted went down this side of the head. Had he gone this way, he'd have died, but it went this way, and it cracked his skull and swelled his brain, and they put a metal plate into his head, and that's what really kept his butt alive. And otherwise, he'd have died. He would not have made it. He'd have been dead. He wouldn't have made it. And he was the very first one to get a plate.
I saw that
Plate in
video.
his head.
What was it last week where that hockey fight on the ice and they knocked the guy out cold?
See, that's why, like I said, you see, that's why I like the international rule. College and high school are the same way. If you get into an altercation and the minute the gloves drop, you're out. You're gone for 2 games. Your coach can send you up to 5 games.
Wow, that's how it should be, though.
Are we back on? Oh, sorry. Sorry, we were in the hockey conversation off air. So hockey was taking precedence over your story, but not anymore, my friend Ben. Welcome back to Recovery Talk. We've got Ben in here. We're going to finish out the show with his story, but one last shout out to our show sponsor, Freedom Auto Tech. Freedom Auto Tech is a local mechanic shop here in town. Give them a call, 828-355-4434. It's 828-355-4434. Come and get your car fixed and know you're supporting a good cause at the same time. Freedom Farm Ministries receives all the profits and proceeds from the shop. 828-355-4434. They're ready to put you on the schedule to fix your car. All right, Ben. So your story is substance abuse, major head injury. After the major head injury, now you're even worse off because you got this medication that is causing you to respond to alcohol, where you're getting way more intoxicated. Assault charges, you're catching charges. So what happened next, my friend? What brought it into all this?
I did 29 days in jail, and then, in jail, it's not like they give you a cell phone and say, look at these and you can call these people.
Yeah.
It's only what you memorize.
Okay.
I had this lady, she means a lot to me. She still means a lot to me, but she ended up coming and bailing me out. I paid her back and such, but the point here is I ended up going to court for what I got charged with. I had a lawyer, and my mother, she talked to him, and she convinced him. She said, look, send him to rehabilitation. She said, try and help him out. So that's what my lawyer presented to the judge. He said, look, we want to give him 6 months, or not 6 months. He just said we want to get him to rehabilitation. The judge said, and they introduced me here, Freedom Farm Ministry. God does everything for a reason. I tell you that. I would rather have been nowhere else, and right at this moment, I would rather be nowhere else. That's just honest truth.
Okay.
It's good to live with my brothers, man. But I'll get to that. My point here is
It wasn't always like that when you first got here.
no, it wasn't.
No,
No, it wasn't.
You struggled when you first got
I
here.
did. I did. But I'm better now, man. Anyway, the point I make is my 6 months. That's how long the judge ordered me. He said you have to be there for 6 months. Then you can leave. And you can come right back to New Bern, do whatever you want to with your life. And he gave me a 1.5 years of supervised probation.
Uh-huh.
So, this is the thing, though. I've said it, I've talked to my family, my gut reflex in the beginning, like you're speaking of, was I'm going to stay for 6 months and then I'm getting out of here.
I remember getting word of that.
Right, that was my worst thing. That was the worst thing I used to think. But, I talked to my family about it. My sister and my mom are like, Ben, my mom says, do what you want to do, but think about it. Think about what you're doing. Think about where you want to be. Think about what you want to live. Focus on that, Benjamin. Don't just change, and do it for that reason.
Right.
Do it for an inspirational reason.
Right.
The right words. So I've decided I'm going to stay for a year, not just stay for 6 months. Any user that's out there, anybody that's like I was, there's no was. It's something you're going to have to get with, something you have to get past.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But you got to think about it within yourself. Come here. Come to Freedom Farm Ministry. Look, you're only going to get out of it what you put into it. Don't sit there and expect you to just be babied and everything to just happen magically, automatically by itself. No, you got to come here and want it for yourself. I'm not sitting here trying to yell at you in a negative way. I'm trying to tell you in the right, positive way. I ain't perfect, but I'm telling you, I've been where you've been. There's better places to be. Live in this world for yourself. Have some faith. Lord have mercy. There's so many good things in your life. I don't wake up every day thinking about changing my state of mind. I don't focus on that. It's just not part of my day now, And they'll look out for you here in more ways than one. And I'm in the third stage now. I've passed the safe house, I've passed restoration, and I'm here. Yeah. I don't want to be anywhere else.
How long you been in the third phase now?
Been in the third phase now? A week and 2 days.
A week and 2 days. So,
a week and 1 day.
So you're experiencing a lot of new freedoms back, and you're doing well with it.
Thank you.
You're kind of like in a probationary period of 30 days where we keep a little bit of extra eye on you because some guys don't handle the freedom as well. But people a lot of times ask me like, man, it's a whole year, and I'm like, yeah, we want you to make a year commitment, and then sometimes they want to know why. And you know what? There's nothing magic about 12 months. It's not like in 12 months, bang, you're cured or anything like that. But what is good is as much clean living time as you can get. So we try to get guys to make a commitment just so their mindset is like, this is what I've signed up for. And also, when a guy like you is already thinking, well, I'm going to do less, I have something to talk to you about, right? Hey, man, we talked about a year. I understand you want to go home now, but it's important to finish commitments. So it becomes a good avenue to have a discussion with somebody when they're starting to get overconfident and ahead of themselves, which unfortunately happens all the time. Mm-hmm. You get guys that experience the freedom you're experiencing right now, and the endorphins, the dopamine is now firing like it hasn't before naturally for a while. They're feeling good and they want to keep it going, so they start thinking, well, in order for me to keep this going, I got to get out of here, because I got things I can do, but I'm not allowed to do here. So, and they it's funny, like every person that I have that conversation with that's leaving early, prematurely, and overconfident, they always tell me the same thing, Ben. Always. I have no intentions of using. Mm-hmm. I have nothing in my mind or heart that I want to pick up the next. I don't want to ruin everything that I've gotten. And guess what? Within 48 hours, they've relapsed. Mm. Just because, it's just kind of the sad part of the story. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I'm glad your mind changed while you were here. So tell us a little bit about, we got 4 minutes left, so tell us a little bit about life today. We already know that you've changed your mind. You're staying here for your commitment, maybe longer. We'll talk about that later. But tell us what life's like now, man. You love living with your brothers?
I do.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I gotta say, living with my people, look, we're different, man. You can't sit there and come here and expect everyone to be perfect. I'm not a perfect man either. What you have to understand is you're gonna be with your brothers, people that have done this longer than you, people that have done this less than you. The key is you should focus on others, don't get me wrong, but the key is to focus on yourself. You want to be a good influence on them because you will find them to be a good influence on you if you look the right way. That's the key that I see. I've got inspiration from some of these fellas, I got something the other day from a brother of mine named Nick here. He said to me, I told him, I said, man, sometimes I feel like I talk too much. He said, Ben, you know what? And this is basically what he said. He didn't say this exactly, but this is the point he made. God gave you 2 ears and he gave you 1 mouth so you can listen twice as much as you talk. Mm-hmm. You know what that meant to me, Jim? It meant a lot. I'm sitting there and I contemplate that now. I think about it. And I'm like, that's a good point, man. You know, and the key is, everybody, think before you act. Think before you speak. Contemplate about it for a moment. You know, analyze it. Just make sure it's a good decision to make, and it's what you want to do in that moment. The brothers around me, man, you know, it's our brother Taylor last night. He made some good food, y'all. You know, it's a brother of mine. This is a man who lives in the same place I do. And he made some real good food, and he's getting it ready for today. Some it's Italian. It starts with a B. Baja, or I don't know what it's called. But it's really good.
I can't get Taylor to call him.
Brachal,
Brachal, I think that is what it is.
Brachal.
Brachal, I think he's right.
You'll enjoy it.
Yeah. But, I mean, just the thing is, fellas and ladies, you know, go to a program for the right reason to be the right person. You know, it's really that simple. There's going to be things, you know, that are going to be tough sometimes because everything in life is not all about getting it to baby you, you know. I used to be guilty of thinking I can make it that way. You know, everything's for me. Everything's for me. When you live beyond that, you don't focus on yourself. You focus on another. That is what feels so good. You know, y'all got family. You got a mama. You got a brother. You got a sister. You got a dad. Something. Think about them before you think about yourself. You know, think about that stranger standing next to you. Throw a riddle at him. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I do that. Everybody at the Safe House jokes me. Everybody at Restoration jokes me. I love it. But I'm just saying.
You know, the key to good changed life is, like you said, thinking before you act, do, and speak. The problem is that what is your worldview? What is it that you're bringing into those thoughts, and how are those thoughts directing your next step? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And that's why it's so important at Freedom Farm that we bring in the whole gospel, and so you understand, you know, who's the one that tells us how to live, who's the one that tells us how to be, you know, to do the next right thing, or how that is even accomplished, and all that kind of stuff. So we're bringing that information. That's what we hope that we've passed on to you while you're here. Yeah. That you bring those facts into your thinking about your next step and whatnot. Anyway, I know you're so inspired, bro. I'm inspired by you. I hope you all that were listening have been inspired. But we're gonna have to say goodbye to Ben, and we appreciate Ben coming in. Wave to the camera, and thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story. And brother, I'm just so excited about what's next for you. Next Thursday, 10:30. Don't miss the show. We'll see you then. Did a great job, buddy.
Thank you, Jim. I hope I didn't overyap my mouth.
No.
Great guys.
You did great.
Thank you, fellas.
Can you
Good job.
Thanks, sir.
Jim, I'm going to go ahead and